in the studio with me Rhiannon Smith, who's Managing Director of Libya-Analysis, who's also Deputy Director at Eye on ISISinlibya.com and has worked extensively in Libya. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. How important is it for this UN General Assembly to reach a global deal, and how might that help to fix the broken systems in Libya that are providing a route to migrants?
Well, I think it's very important. Libya is a prime example of how underdevelopment, conflict, instability can facilitate these mass flows of migrants. I think it's also important to remember, though, that even if, Libya is able to stop the flow of migrants from Libya, those migrants and refugees are still going to be in Libya. And therefore, the reason you need a global situation, a global solution, is that actually you shouldn't just be pushing the problem to another country. It should be a global situation, not just a European solution to this problem.
And of course, there's recently been a spike in people wanting to cross to Europe from Libya. What's behind that?
Part of it is the weather. So you do see this every year, that in the summer months, the Mediterranean is a lot calmer, so a lot more people will try it at this time. Another reason is the situation in Libya is deteriorating rapidly. There's been economic collapse, there's very little power, public services, infrastructure, all of these things are getting worse. In combination with that, there's a lot more conflict, growing tension between different militias and factions, a lot of whom are based in the areas where a lot of migrants leave from, so Sabrata, Zawiya, these different places. And so that's part of the reason for the spike.
And is that why this people smuggling operation appears to be so entrenched in Libya?
There are a number of reasons for that. So actually smuggling in general in some of these key coastal and border towns, smuggling of subsidised goods, of fuel, other things, is sort of entrenched. There are networks there. And it happened in the time of Gaddafi. He actually used to sort of turn on and off the flow of migrants as a threat to Europe to sort of acquiesce to what he wanted. So those networks are very deeply ingrained in the society, and now it's very difficult to get money, development, money from the state. It's practically non-existent, and therefore these smuggling networks are a very good way of making a lot of money from these vulnerable people that are coming through Libya.
What about the various governments and factions in Libya, including the most prominent one that's supported by the UN? What are they saying about this migrant crisis?
I have to say there's very little actually about the migrant crisis within Libya. The government you mentioned, which is the Government of National Accord, came into Tripoli in March 2016. This is supported by the UN and the international community. Now, although there's a mission called EUNAVFOR-Med, which is an EU mission to try and intercept the smuggling rings that are taking people over, part of the problem is that they can't actually enter Libyan waters or do much more until there's a solid government in place. And as it stands, the GNA currently is beginning to crumble, its support base is no longer there, and it may be likely that there will be a new body in the coming few months if a new political solution is required.
Well, whatever lofty words on refugees that we hear from the UN, I think if they're serious about ending the nightmare, they've got to do something about restoring order to the chaos in Libya. Rhiannon Smith, Managing Director of Libya-Analysis, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.